Come on!
Oh boy. I know you guys have been like itching for me to talk about this, and I did a couple weeks ago. Listen, from retail to the alpha investor to the financiers, there's an extreme frustration with this one, and I feel responsible to bring to talk about this. I feel like I have to because I've covered this one regularly over the last year and a half. I'm the one that broke open the Speed Trader story. Remember, we got Speed Trader on here, and this is how you buy a CE stock. All right. So I'm going to own it. I'm not going to run from it. We're going to talk about it. And I want to go back to the very first interview, the only interview that I had with Mark Schmidt. Brett Rosen was there too. And let's look at this clip, and then we're going to break it down. And then you guys could share your thoughts in the comments section. Many shareholders are extremely frustrated with the pink current situation. You guys have communicated with us throughout this tedious process. As frustrating as it is for us, I could just imagine how annoying it must be for your management team. What can you share with us regarding the process and why it has taken so long? And have these things been cleared regarding the preferred A and preferred C class?
Yeah. So first of all, the buck stops with me. So it's my responsibility. I take full responsibility for it. The reality is we are growing so fast. If you look back at where we were 2 years ago versus now, it's just
a different company.
It's just been unbelievable. Now, along the way, right, you try to source the best resource you have at the time to do the job you expect to be done. I can't, quite frankly, manage all of that while I'm, doing things like we were doing in, Europe this year. So things slipped, and I let some people do some things that they weren't qualified to do. Thankfully, the OTC is here to protect us all. So we're straightening that out. It's taken longer than I wanted. A and C, as I was mentioning earlier before the video here, those are shares that have been around for a long time. Like the A shares came into existence in 2003, just to put things in perspective. So the fact that I didn't have in corporate records right now the full provenance of who owns those, we knew there were 8 shareholders. I had to go through the big we, not just me, some extraordinary lengths to try to retrieve those records, and it's taken some time. Everybody got to watch the saga of us redoing and removing the 700 million shares. This is similar, but in this case, this had to do with records that a former, unfortunately, he's passed away now, board member of ours who was responsible for that, and we had to retrieve those records. So we got them. We think we've satisfied the curiosity and the inquisitiveness of OTC markets. I do expect that this will be it, and we have fundamental records of who's got what and where. That'll be reflected now in the A table. And again, there are 8 shareholders. And I think all the shares at this point, if they were diluted, is something like, I can't remember, guys. Just don't hold me to it. It's a little bit of shares, very little bit of shares. Just like the C, it turns out the C are, fundamentally going to be held by the universities. It looks like there's not a control person. That was another issue they had. So anyway, we've been able to get through that. It's taken some time. We've had some false starts. I quite frankly was really upset the last couple times we had to amend things. It's just embarrassing. I'm putting my signature on that. I don't want that to be the case. What we're doing now, just so everyone's clear, is we've got a new group that we are working with. There are, fundamental capabilities there that are going to get us from where we are now to SEC filing, regulatory filing. We've been an SEC filing company before. I do expect by, first, second quarter next year, second quarter probably more likely, will be audited and we'll be filing in the normal way. Now, when we do the uplift, that obviously is a fundamental requirement. So we've been working on this for a while, and obviously the foreign subsidiaries and getting those audited has been a real challenge so that it's acceptable here. And we're working through that. And if you layer on top of that some current issues we have with needing clearances that we didn't anticipate last year, that we absolutely have to have this year. it's really causing us to accelerate all of the auditing that we're doing. So we should be, I think, in the U.S. pretty well done by the first quarter. We're going to have to make some decisions about how we maybe put some of the foreign subsidiaries in a firewall so that we don't have to worry about our clearances. More on that as we go. Again, these are real-time things that we're dealing with internally to make sure that we're actually serving the broadest opportunities we possibly can. So that's, I guess I touched on audits as well, but that's really what's going on right now. And it's taken a little more time. And quite frankly, as we've turned the organization towards these massive opportunities, we've had to really consider how do we need to be structured so that we are capturing the opportunities that are available. And that's, again, real-time work happening.
And so that you can also.
All right, so let's look at some quotes from that, that segment. Quotes from CYBL CEO Mark Schmidt. The buck stops with me, so it's my responsibility. I take responsibility for it. I can't, quite frankly, manage that while we're doing things like we're doing in Europe this year. All right? What we're doing now, just so everybody is clear, is we've got a new group that we are working with. There are fundamental capabilities there that are going to get us from where we are now to SEC filing. I do expect by first or second quarter next year, and that was 2023, second quarter probably, more likely, we'll be audited and we'll be filing in the normal way. The last one. These are real-time things that we're dealing with internally to make sure we're actually serving the broadest opportunities we possibly can. And they've had a lot of news, but the stock isn't tradable. All right. Listen, public CEOs have a duty to their shareholders because they are legally and ethically obligated to act in the best interests of their owners of the company, which that's the shareholders. Regardless of whether you're invested with $10 or 10 million, public CEOs must be clear with you, the shareholder. And too often we see this isn't the case, especially in OTC land. Personally, I see the tide shifting because traders are getting wiser. We're digging deeper. Those fiduciary responsibilities include maximizing shareholder value through strategic decision-making, ensuring transparency and accurate financial reporting. Shareholders invest their capital, their hard-earned money, with the expectation that it's going to be used to generate profitable returns. Or at least that's the goal. By prioritizing shareholder interests, CEOs maintain investors' trust and support, which is absolutely crucial for a company to succeed and to sustain themselves in the market. CYBL shareholders, from retail to alpha investors to the financiers, they deserve answers. I mean, look at the recent addition of Kim Lewis. What did management do to get her to come on board? And will they continue to add people that have government contract abilities? I mean, they're making updates, so things are going on, but it doesn't matter because you can't buy the stock. You can't trade the stock. It's in the gutter. It's not fair to the shareholders to basically, turn away from your shareholders at this point. And I'm talking about a lot of the frustration that you guys are feeling right now. This doesn't matter because you're being ghosted by management. And I feel this way about all stocks. I'll tell you that right now. I would feel the same way about ILS. If they ignore emails, they stop contacting, stop communicating. It's okay to fall upon bad times. That's fine. Don't ghost your shareholders. I talked to a CEO recently. I won't say who. Times are tough. Funding's tough. And my advice was this: stay consistent. That's what matters the most. Being present and being consistent. When things are great, be out there. I'll use Steve Reinhardt as an example. His share price was down significantly. All right. He still does his weekly update every single week. You'll get it from him. You'll never see him back out. You'll never see him shy away. Boom, out there all the time. That's important. Consistency is one of the most important things when you're leading a company, when you're representing your shareholders. Needs to be consistent. Yes, FLES. You saw what happened there, but he's consistent. And I like the fact that he's consistent. That matters most. I don't care if you're in the gutter for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Don't leave your shareholders out to dry. So I know many of you are frustrated. The buck does stop with the top dog, and I empathize with you guys. And but it is very frustrating. Hopefully we get an update. And we have something here. Brett killed FLAS. I don't think he necessarily did. No, I think he paid down some debt. I think there were 3 sellers that once we got some volume into that stock, we started covering it at 3 cents, and that thing spiked up. That thing actually less than that. It was like 1.5 cents. We called it. That thing went up to 12, 13 cents. And the minute they saw that volume, those transferred shares just got dumped all over us. All right. So I think long-term FLAS does have a lot of hope, especially if they continue to build a revenue and Chris Davenport stays consistent. So, I'm not here to give Mark Schmidt a lecture. I'm invested in the company. I have $18,000 invested in this company. All right. I want them to succeed.